In 1971, Roger and Caroline Perron, along with their 5 young daughters, moved into a historic farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. For them, it was a new beginning, a dream come true. But they didn't know the house was already occupied, not by a single lonely soul, but by a legion of spirits waiting in the wings. Their battle against the darkness would become one of the most infamous cases of demonic haunting in American history, inspiring the horror film The Conjuring. The Perron family's excitement quickly turned to unease as they settled into their new home. At first, the phenomena were just harmless pranks. Doors would open and then slam shut without explanation. The smell of perfume or rotting flesh would appear from nowhere, only to vanish moments later. Whispers echoed through the dark hallways when everyone was asleep. But it was the children who first made contact with the unseen friends in the house. They reported many spirits, both good and bad, residing with them. However, there was one spirit that was particularly dangerous. As the days turned into weeks, the paranormal activity intensified. Objects would disappear, only to reappear in the most unlikely places. The family would hear footsteps on the stairs when no one was there. Shadows darted across walls and disappeared around corners. The Perron children began to speak of ghostly playmates, some friendly, others terrifying. But it was the matriarch of the family, Caroline, who bore the brunt of the supernatural assault. The most malevolent spirit haunting the house was Bathsheba Sherman, an accused witch, who had lived there in the 19th century. Legend says she sacrificed her own child to the devil and committed suicide by hanging herself in the house. Bathsheba hated all women who were mistresses of her house, and Caroline Perron became her primary target. Mysterious bruises would appear on Caroline's body overnight. She would wake to violent blows against the headboard, as if someone was trying to bash her skull in. Horrific nightmares plagued her sleep, visions of a distorted, smiling face that she knew belonged to Bathsheba. It became clear that this vengeful spirit wanted the Perron family out at any cost. The attacks escalated. Caroline would feel invisible hands grabbing at her in the dark. Objects would fly across rooms, narrowly missing family members. Loud bangs like gunshots would echo through the house at all hours. The children reported seeing dark figures standing at the foot of their beds, watching them sleep. The family was trapped in a nightmare they couldn't escape. In desperation, the Perron family reached out to famed demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens had a reputation for dealing with the paranormal, but even they were shocked by what they encountered at the Harrisville farmhouse. After investigating, they confirmed the house was infested with a legion of spirits, led by the malevolent Bathsheba. The Warrens witnessed horrific phenomena during their investigation. Beds would levitate off the ground with children still in them. Loud bangs like gunshots would ring out, shaking the entire house. They even experienced physical attacks, with invisible forces scratching and pushing them. But it was during a preliminary that the true horror of the haunting revealed itself. As the Warrens attempted to communicate with the spirits, Caroline Perron suddenly began to convulse. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and she began to speak in a voice that was not her own. The entity possessing her, presumably Bathsheba, screamed obscenities and threats. Caroline's body contorted in unnatural ways, and she even violently threw a chair at Ed Warren. It was a direct confrontation with evil, one that left everyone present shaken to their core. There had to be abruptly ended, but the damage was done. The demonic presence in the house had been provoked, and the attacks on the family intensified. Caroline's possession became more frequent, with the entity using her body to terrorize her own children. The Warrens advised the family to leave immediately, but the Perrons were trapped, financially unable to abandon the property they had invested everything in. For nearly a decade, the Perron family lived in this hell. Every day was a battle for survival against forces they couldn't see or understand. The children grew up in an environment of constant fear, never knowing when the next attack would come. Caroline's mental and physical health deteriorated rapidly under the constant assault. Even Roger, who had initially been skeptical, could no longer deny the horror that had engulfed his family. Finally, after years of torment, the Perron family managed to sell the house and escape, but the scars remained. Caroline Perron carried the physical and mental wounds for the rest of her life. Mysterious illnesses plagued her, and she never fully recovered from the trauma of her repeated possessions. Her daughters are still haunted by the terrifying memories of their childhood home. They speak of nightmares that never truly fade, of a darkness that followed them long after they left Harrisville. The Harrisville farmhouse is still said to be haunted to this day, with new owners also reporting strange phenomena. Doors still open and close on their own. The smell of rotting flesh still permeates the air without warning, and some claim to have seen the ghostly figure of a woman in 19th century dress, watching from the windows with a malevolent smile. The horror of the Perron family is a reminder that sometimes the past doesn't just stay behind. It latches onto you and never lets go. Their story has become a cautionary tale, a warning to those who might dismiss the supernatural as mere superstition. It stands as one of the most well-documented cases of demonic haunting in American history, a testament to the reality of forces beyond our understanding. The Perron family case is chilling proof that demons are real. It's a story of ordinary people pushed to the limits of their endurance by a force they could understand, and a warning. When you invite evil into your life, it will never leave without taking something with it. The shadows that haunted the Harrisville farmhouse continue to linger, a dark reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. As we look back on the Perron family's ordeal, we're left with more questions than answers. What truly lurks in the shadows of that old farmhouse? Are the spirits of Bathsheba and her victims still trapped there, doomed to replay their tragic history for eternity? Or did something even darker take root in that place? Something that feeds on fear and suffering. Perhaps we'll never know the full truth of what happened to the Perrons, but their story serves as a chilling reminder that the line between our world and the next is thinner than we might like to believe. It urges us to approach the unknown with caution and respect, for we never know what might be waiting on the other side. The Perron family's nightmare may have ended, but the legacy of the Harrisville haunting lives on. It continues to fascinate and terrify, a dark chapter in America's paranormal history that refuses to be forgotten. And somewhere in Rhode Island, an old farmhouse stands silent, its windows dark, waiting for the next unsuspecting family to cross its threshold and awaken the horrors that slumber within.